Hello friends, I am CA.SONALIJINDAL. We are starting a new series on economic concepts with previous year questions as I promised in my strategy series. This is the content of my video. Firstly, we will see the relationship between demand, supply and price. Then we will see how demand is related to inflation and economic growth. Then we will discuss fiscal policy and monetary policy. In the end, we will take up the previous year questions that are based on these topics. So we will start with most basic equation, that is price is inversely proportional to demand. It means if price decreases of a commodity, it will result in increase in demand. What is demand? Consumer desires to buy product. So let's find out the relationship with supply. Price decreases, it will result in increase in demand. It will result into increase in supply in long run. As producer wants to make profit of this increased demand. So let's make a flowchart of it. Price decreased, demand increase, supply increase. It will result into decrease in price, as eventually demand matches with supply. But if this demand does not match with supply, what will happen? Let's take example. There are 10 pens in market, costs rupees 10, demanded by 10 people, but cost reduced to rupees 8, now demanded by 12 people, but only 10 pens in market. Now 10 people plus 2 more people will come to shop to buy pen. Now shopkeeper will say, I will sell it on 12 rupees, as the bargaining power of shopkeeper has increased. So let's see. If supply does not match with demand, it will result into increase in prices that we have seen through this 12 pence example. Now let's find out relation of demand and supply with inflation and growth. In example, we have seen there is an increase in demand. So what will happen in the economy. Demand increased resulted result into increase in prices. That means inflation occurs with demand. Now, increased demand also push the producer to produce more to earn. It will create employment, increase production. This increases GDP in the economy. So, demand increased results in increased supply, creating employment, increasing production, increasing GDP of economy. This results into increased economic growth. Apart from this, increased supply, increase wages that increases the cost. It also results in inflation. Similarly, increased demand will also result into increased prices. As we have seen in Pan's example. Inflation is of two types. One is demand pull inflation, other is cost push inflation. In our Pan example, we discussed about it. In cost push inflation, example, increase in transportation cost may be due to increased crude oil prices. Example, producer cost factory rupees 10 plus product goes to market, marketing cost, transportation cost, taxes. If this increases, final cost increase. This is cost push inflation. So let's take fiscal policy of government that makes balance between inflation, and growth. Fiscal policy includes two things of the government. That is, one is expenditure, other is revenue. Expenditure of government, if it is increased. To understand this, let's take example of Mr. A. Mr. A earns rupees 10,000. He spends 2,000 in education, then 2,000 on health. He is left with only 6,000. Now he will spend it in market to buy, for example, clothes. Now, if government increases expenditure, that is providing free school, education, or health, Mr. A. So, Mr. A will spend 2,000. No. So, he is left with 10,000 to spend on clothes. So, increased government expenditure result into increased demand through more spending power, Mr. A. This increased demand will push supplier increased production, so increased GDP. At the same time, this increased demand giving the more spending power with public due to increased money supply result into inflation. So let's make a summary chart on it. So this is our summary chart to see on the impact of inflation, how government should increase or decrease its expenditure. If, for example, there is a high inflation in the market, then what government should do? Government needs to reduce its expenditure. As we have seen, if government has increased the expenditure, it will result into increased inflation. So if there is a high inflation, then government should reduce its expenditure. Then if there is a low inflation, then government should increase its expenditure. As we have seen, there is a two parts of uh, fiscal policy. One is expenditure. We have made understood it to find a relationship with inflation and growth. Other part is revenue. So it includes tax revenue of government. We will understand it by taking company Y into consideration. Example, company Y earns rupees 1 lakh. Government charges rupees 20,000 as tax. So it is left with only 80,000 to spend. With this only, it will increase its production, increase wages, increase wages of public. So if government reduces this tax revenue to suppose rupees 10,000, then company will have 90,000 to spend on increased production and to increase the wages of the public. So if company will have 90,000 to increase production, increased 10,000 with reduced tax revenue will increase the GDP. With increased wages of the public or of the labor will increase in the inflation as cost push inflation, and it will increase the demand in the economy. This will result in the inflation as demand pull inflation. So let's make a summary chart. If there is a high inflation, then government should increase the tax revenue as less money with company Y. So too, if there is low inflation, then government should reduce its tax revenue to make company Y to produce more. So if there is a high growth, Coupled with high inflation, government needs to increase its revenue. And if there is low growth coupled with low inflation, there is need to reduce its revenue. So here is the summary chart of fiscal policy. You just need to remember this action to be taken by the government on high inflation or high growth. You need to learn this chart. Take a screenshot of it. This will give you the summary of what we have discussed earlier. Government has formed monetary policy committee headed by RBI governor. This has been given the goal of inflation targeting, that is between 2 to 6%. It targets through controlling money supply. Money supply in market controlled through supply of credit and through determining interest rates. This is the full chart of monetary policy that is undertaken by RBI to control money supply. You can take screenshot of it, but here in a video we will discuss only few terms that are required to discuss previous year questions. Let's first take repo rate. It is the rate at which bank can borrow from RBI. So let's understand. This is RBI. Mr. A comes to the bank to ask for the 1 crore loan. Bank will go to the RBI. Please lend me 1 crore loan. So if RBI charges 6%, bank will add up its margin. So interest rate will be 8%. If we say RBI reduces the repo rate to 5%, then bank will lend it as 7%. So repo rate reduced reduces the cost of loan to Mr. A. This means there will be cheaper money supply through cheap supply of credit. So if repo rate is reduced, more money supply Mr. A will invest. So private investment will increase through the creation of jobs, creating infrastructure. This will increase in GDP. Similarly, more money supply will increase the demand in public, as there will be more money in hands of public. This will result into increased inflation. So, if RBI needs to control it, it needs to increase repo rate. Recently, RBI increased its repo rate to control inflation. Let's take another CRR. In simple terms, it is the ratio that of total deposits bank has to keep cash with RBI. Example, there is 100 deposited by X in bank. Bank will keep rupees 2 with RBI and will use only 98 to lend further. Similarly, SLR, it is a statutory liquidity ratio. It is the ratio that every bank has to maintain with itself certain percentage of its total deposits in liquid form. Example, government securities can be purchased with it. So, if CRR is increased or SLR is increased, it means money supply has been decreased, as bank will have less money to lend. Same case is with repo rate. So we have understood that if repo rate or CRR or SLR is decreased, it means there will be a more money supply. As the interest loan is decreased, it will increase the private investment and end up in increasing GDP, and it will also increase the demand as there will be more money in the hands of public. This will increase the inflation. So let's make a summary chart of it. If there is a high inflation in the economy, RBI needs to control money supply. This means cost of lending needs to be increased. Similarly, if there is a low inflation, then money supply needs to be increased. This needs to be done by decreasing cost of lending. OMOs, that is open market operations. Here, RBI buys or sells government securities to affect money supply. So, if RBI sells government securities, what it means? People will buy government securities. It means public ने पैसा दिया. This means money supply has been decreased as there will be less money than before. So, if RBI buys government securities, what it means? Public will sell government securities. It means public के पास पैसा आएगा. It means money supply has been increased. So, let's find a relationship with inflation. If money supply has been decreased, it means less money with the public and inflation can be decreased. If there is a more money supply, it means more money with the public. It means inflation will increase. So, through government securities, RBI tries to maintain a money supply by selling or buying. So let's start with previous year questions that can be solved with the concepts that I have discussed earlier in this video. So here UPSC is asking there is an increase in the money supply. So let's read first statement. Purchase of the government securities from the public by the central bank. What it means? Central bank is buying securities from the public. So public will get money. So it certainly will increase the money supply. So first statement is correct. Here in this question, I will show you one trick that can be used to eliminate statements. Like if you see the first and the fourth statement, these are exact opposite of each other. So one of the statement will be correct. So in here in the question, if we say first statement is correct, then fourth statement can't be correct. So you can eliminate fourth, then you will be left with A and C. So here in this question, you don't need to read second statement. So let's read third statement. Borrowing by the government from the central bank. So if government borrows the money from the central bank, it means there will be increased money supply. Like we can understand it like government will increase its expenditure with the money that has been borrowed from the RBI. If government will increase its government expenditure, what it means? More money with Mr. A that we discussed earlier, like for example, free education. So here we reach to the answer to 1 and 3. Next question is there is a rise in the general level of prices. What it means? Inflation. So let's read first statement, increase in the money supply. We have discussed it like if there is an increase in the money supply, it means more money with the public to spend. This will result into the increased demand. If there is an increased demand, then public will be ready to buy at the higher prices. It means inflation will occur in the economy. So first statement is correct. So we can eliminate C statement. Let's read next statement. A decrease in the aggregate level of output. What it means? Decrease in supply. We have discussed it earlier. If there is a decreased supply and correspondingly it is not matching with the demand, what will happen? Price of the commodity will increase. So second is also correct. Let's read third statement. increase in the effective demand. Increase in the effective demand, what it means? If there is more demand for the pen that we discussed earlier, it means it will result in the increase in prices further if it will not match with the supply. So we reach to the answer D. Let's discuss third question. What is the most likely to be the most inflationary in its effect? Let's read first statement. Repayment of public debt. If government repays its debt, how it can be inflationary? In fact, money is going out of the government hand. It means there will be less money with the government to spend. So government expenditure will decrease with it. Second statement, borrowing from the public to finance a budget deficit. So borrowing from the public to finance a budget deficit. Let's read third statement first. Firstly, borrowing from the public to finance a budget deficit. And the fourth statement is creating new money to finance a budget deficit. Let's compare C and D. If there is a borrowing from the banks to finance a budget deficit, it means government is getting money from the banks to finance. Certainly it is inflationary as the government is getting the money, but here same money is circulating at least. But in the fourth statement there is a new money has been created that is used to finance, so it will be more inflationary. Answer can be C also, but here the question is most inflationary, so answer is D. Let's discuss this question. Supply of money remaining the same. So it is saying money of supply is same, but there is an increase in demand. There will be here or here in this question also the trick I discussed earlier can be used. That is, we reach to the answer B or C as these are exact opposite of each other. But let's solve it by concept. If there is a same supply, money supply and increased demand, let's take this loan as a commodity. If we say the loan is commodity or maybe interest on the loan is a commodity and there is a same supply but the demand for the loan has increased, it means there will be more people to get that loan, so it will increase in the price of the commodity. What is commodity here? It is the loan, so it will result into the increase in the rate of interest. So answer is B. So let's discuss next question. That is, interest rate is decreased in the economy. What will happen? If there is a decreased interest rate, it means cost of lending is low in the country. Here also the trick we discussed earlier can be used as the A and C are exactly opposite of each other. But we will do it by concept. If there is a decreased interest rate, what it means? It will increase the investment expenditure in the economy. What it means? It's linked to the private investment will increase through the less interest rate in the economy. Let's read other statements also. Decrease the consumption expenditure in the economy. No, this is wrong. In fact, it will increase. So, if in this question, first statement says increase the consumption expenditure, then it will be also right. In the second statement, increase the tax collection of the government. This is not linked at all. Fourth statement, increase the total savings in the economy. Increase the total savings in the economy. This is not directly linked with this. Let's discuss another question. With reference to the inflation in India, which of the following statement is correct? Let's read first statement. Controlling the inflation in India is the responsibility of the government of India only. RBI has no role in controlling the inflation. First statement is wrong. As we have seen, inflation targeting has been given to the Monetary Policy Committee And the second statement is extreme statement as well. It has no role. And another thing, it has a role in inflation targeting. So this is also wrong. Here also the trick I discussed earlier is applying here, as C and D is exactly opposite of each other. Let's read third statement. Decreased money circulation helps in controlling the inflation. Increased money circulation helps in controlling the inflation. We have discussed if there will be a decreased money circulation, it will help in the controlling inflation. So answer is C. Let's discuss next question. When the RBI announces increase in the cash reserve ratio, what it means? There will be a less money to lend by central banks. It is very easy. So answer is A. In the context of Indian economy, open market operations, we have seen it. This is purchase and sale of government securities by the RBI. Economic growth is usually coupled with, answer is B. We have seen, like, if there is an increased demand, that will also result into the economic growth and increased inflation as well. Here we will discuss other terms as well. Deflation is exact opposite of inflation. It means there is a fall in the prices of the commodities in the economy. Stagflation, it means stagnation plus inflation. It means growth is decreasing but inflation is rising. Mostly this is the case of cost push inflation, as we have seen in the case of COVID-19 and Russia Ukraine war. Hyperinflation is about the, like, inflation is around maybe 100% as well, as we have seen in the case of Germany or Vietnam. Lowering of bank rate by the RBI. It is a similar question. If RBI is decreasing its bank rate or repo rate, it means it is increasing the liquidity in the market. Here also the earlier trick we discussed is applying. A and B statement is exact opposite of each other. Next question is, economic growth in the country will necessarily have to occur. Let's read first statement. Technical progress in the world economy. Like, if there is a technical progress in the world economy, maybe it will not help India, or like for say country X. For example, like we can say, see in the case of India. Another thing, if there is a population growth, certainly it will not help. Third statement is there is a capital formation of X. And fourth statement is volume of trade grows in the world economy. Maybe it will not help if country X is not a part of increasing the volume of trade. C will help, as the capital formation will increase jobs in that economy and increase the infrastructure that will reduce the cost of doing business. Question. Here RBI or government takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee. Here we will take Indian rupee as the commodity only. So if you need to stop the slide, what it means? You need to increase the price of it. How it can be done? Either demand needs to be increased or supply has to be decreased. So let's read fourth statement first. Following an expansionary monetary policy. What it means? Increasing money supply. But here we have discussed, like, we need to decrease the supply of Indian rupee. So it cannot help in this. Here in this question, UP has asked about note, most likely. So answer is D. But we have to read other statements as well. Here, curbing imports of non-essential goods and promoting exports. What it means? If we curb the import of non-essential goods, it means we are stopping the dollar to go out of the country. It means we are increasing the supply of the dollar as compared to rupee. So it means, like, we are decreasing the supply of the rupee. It means it will help in the slide of, help in stopping the slide of the Indian rupee. It will increase the rupee price. Let's read second statement. Increasing Indian borrowers to issue rupee denominated masala bonds. What it means? We are increasing the demand of the rupee. Third statement, easing the conditions relating to the ECB. It means dollar will flow into the country. We are increasing the supply of the dollar as compared to rupee, so it will help to stop the slide of the Indian rupee. Let's do next question. Here, if you withdraw rupees 1 lakh in cash from your demand deposit account at your bank, the immediate effect would be like the same person is just withdrawing the cash from his bank account and putting his in pocket. It means shifting the pocket only. So it will leave it as unchanged. In the previous question also we have seen this, like deposit of currency in the commercial bank by the public. It will not affect money supply. So here in the question, inflation benefits the debtors, inflation benefits the bondholders. Here I want to say one thing more, like UPSC as asked in 2013, like debenture holders are creditor or debtor. Let me give you answer. These are creditors. Debenture holders and bondholders are one and same thing. Let's discuss these in detail. This is shopkeeper. Here, shopkeeper buys things from the factory, rupees 10,000, but he takes it on the credit. Like, for example, he will repay this amount in, for say, 1 month. And he further sells to Mr. A at rupees 12,000. Mr. A will give in 2 months. Here, factory, let's take his name as XYZ. He is the creditor of shopkeeper. It means XYZ is creditor of shopkeeper. इन हिंदी वी विल से जिसको पैसा देना है वो क्रेडिटर है, जिससे पैसा लेना है वो डेटर है. सो शॉपकीपर इज डेटर ऑफ फैक्ट्री XYZ बिकॉज फैक्ट्री ने XYZ ने. सो मिस्टर ए इज डेटर ऑफ shopkeeper and XYZ is a creditor of shopkeeper. Debenture holders are the ones who have given money to company X company on credit. So company has X has to repay in future. कंपनी एक्स को डिबेंचर होल्डर्स को पैसा देना है. इट मीन्स डिबेंचर होल्डर्स और बॉन्ड होल्डर्स आर द क्रेडिटर्स ऑफ द कंपनी. लेट्स सी द क्वेश्चन. Here, inflation benefits the debtors. Here, UPSC has taken the loan as commodity only. Increase in the price, it means increase in the interest rate. So, inflation benefits the debtors. Who are debtors? जिससे पैसा लेना है. जिससे पैसा लेना है, it means that person has to pay less interest on the loan, so it will benefit him. Next is inflation benefits the bondholders. In this statement, if you knew one thing that bondholders are creditors, here also the trick discussed earlier applies. These are exact opposite of each other. It just instead of creditors they have written bondholders. So bondholders will be at the loss. Rather, company X will get the benefit of inflation because it has to pay less interest on the loan. So the answer is A. Let's discuss next question. Here, With reference to the Indian economy, what are the components of the public monetary policy? It is undertaken by RBI. Bank rate, yes, we have seen this. OMOs, yes. Buying and selling of government securities. So 1 and 2 will be the answer. We directly reaches to the C, but here we will see third and fourth as well. Public debt and public revenue is the part of the fiscal policy which is undertaken by the government. Let's see next question. Here, RBI reduces the SLR by 50 basis points. What it means? RBI is increasing the money supply because it decreasing the cost of lending. Here, scheduled commercial banks may cut their lending rates. This is the question of 2021. Which among the following steps is most likely to be taken at the time of economic recession? Here, that summary chart we have prepared earlier will help you. Economic recession, what it means? There is a low growth. What government needs to do? Increase government expenditure and reduce tax revenue. Correspondingly, what RBI needs to do if there is a low growth? Increase money supply. Increasing money supply. What it needs to do? Cost of lending needs to be decreased. So let's read first statement. Cut in tax rates accompanied by increase in interest rate. Here we have seen reducing tax revenue and reducing the interest rate. So first, this is right, but this is wrong. Increase in the expenditure on the public project. Yes, we need to increase the government expenditure. Let's read third statement. Increase in tax rate accompanied by reduction of interest rate. We need to reduce tax rate, reduction in interest rate. This is right. Reduction in the expenditure on the public project. No, we need to increase the expenditure. These are also opposite of each other. But here, A and C are also opposite of each other. So we have to read like all four statements. Other things remaining unchanged, market demand for the good might increase. So we have to find a relationship between the price and demand. Price of the substitute goods increases. What it means? Like if you are lover of coffee, but the price of tea is increasing, it means your demand for the coffee will increase further. So this is right. Price of its complement increases. What it means? Like if you are lover of coffee, you need a coffee pouch of Nestle and milk as well. If the price of the milk will increase, your demand for the coffee will decrease. So it will decrease. So this can't be answer. We have to eliminate 2. The good is an inferior good and the income of the consumer increases. In first statement, first page itself, I have said like price of commodity, if it will decrease, demand of that good will increase certainly, but if it's a inferior good, then demand for that product will decrease with the decrease in prices. So this can't be answer. We have to eliminate 3 as well. So we reaches to A. Price falls, it's a directly related to the increase in demand. Let's discuss next question. This is 2021 paper. Here, most inflationary in effects. Answer is D. This is a repeated question. We have discussed it earlier. So let's discuss this question. Demand pull inflation. With reference to the Indian economy, demand pull inflation can be caused or increased by, let's see, expansionary policies. What it means? We are increasing the money supply in the economy. It will result into the more spending power with the public. They will increase their demand. So this is the correct answer. Let's eliminate B statement. Fiscal stimulus. What it means? Government is increasing the expenditure. Let's discuss earlier example. Government is providing the free education or health, so Mr. A will have more money to spend to buy clothes, so it will increase the demand pull inflation. Second statement is correct. Inflation indexing wages. We have discussed, if wages are increasing, it means it is leading to cost push inflation, so this can't be answer, we have to eliminate it. Although we reaches directly to the answer, let's read other statements as well. Higher purchasing power. What it means? People are having more money to buy things. They are having more money or purchasing power to get a good. So certainly their demand will increase. If the demand will increase, it will lead to the increase in prices. So it is a demand pull inflation. Next is rising interest rate. Interest rate is rising. What it means? There is increased cost of lending, so it is cost push inflation. This is 2022 question. Here just read first statement. If the inflation is too high, RBI is likely to buy government securities. Let's discuss. If government is sorry if RBI is buying the government securities, what it means? People are giving the money to the RBI. Yes, if people are giving the money to the RBI, what it means? People are having less money. If they are having less money, it means there will be a less purchasing power of them. Less purchasing power leading to the less demand, it will decrease the inflation. So this is wrong statement. If we eliminate first, we will directly reach to the answer. You don't have need to read other statements. Let's do next question. Who is responsible for maintaining the price stability by controlling inflation? We have discussed. It is the RBI. So this is the end of this video. We have discussed almost 22 questions of previous years that can be done with such a simple concept, that is demand and supply. So you can get this PDF in description and my Telegram channel as well. The Telegram link has been given in the description. So let's end this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.